This is WCM's Park Update, a weekly show covering the outdoor hospitality industry, hosted by Ben Quiggle and Mike Gast. During each episode, you'll hear from special guests and campground experts on topics that will help your park flourish. WCM's Park Update is a production of Woodall's Campground magazine.
Hi, I'm Ben Quiggle, editor of Woodall's Campground magazine, and my esteemed co-host, Mike Gast, former Vice President of Communications of Campgrounds of America, which has been in the news a lot. KOA's in the news been a lot recently, so that's exciting. And then our guest today, Tyler Watts from Student Rental Investments. They own a park in Mooresboro, North Carolina. It's called Broad River Campground, and he's on to talk a little bit about the campground, about how they developed the campground. I mean, I guess, you know, how you even got into the business, Tyler. I guess we could just start there. I guess, what made you guys form Student Rental Investments?
So Student Rental Investments is a company that was formed by my current boss, and they focused on student housing up and down the East Coast. And in a former life as a project engineer for a company down in Charlotte, I crossed paths with George Salimbo, who's with a startup company, and we use their product. So long story short, worked together for years in the engineering industry and became really good friends. And he called me up out of the blue one day and said, "I'm getting into real estate. Do you want in?" And I said, "Give me 2 weeks and I'll be ready to go." And long story short, we when I started with him in 2017, I think we currently have 10 real estate companies. Broad River Campground being one of them. The remaining ones are all apartment complexes, and it's a mixture now between student housing and just regular multifamily.
So tell us a little bit about the location, Tyler. How did you pick it out, and what's around it right now? How do people find you?
So the Broad River Campground is basically a 50-minute drive west of Charlotte, North Carolina. That's geographically kind of gives everybody an idea where we're at. We're in the Piedmont area, so we're a mixture between the city and basically the mountains. And the strategic location was basically based off of me being the hometown boy here. And we wanted to develop something close to where I could directly manage and understand and gain all that experience, especially it being our first park. So I live roughly about 15, 20 minutes from the park. The location also attracted us based off of the Broad River Greenway, which we adjoin parcels with, and they own roughly around 2,000 acres and have hiking trails, horseback riding trails, playground sets. They basically have everything you would love to do to enjoy the Broad River except overnight stays. So the idea came about to say, hey, let's build something and join and team up with them to be able to offer something for guests to be able to come in and not only enjoy the Broad River Greenway, but now have a place to stay and reside.
So did you start with raw land?
We started with 82 acres of hunting land that's been hunting land for the last 30 years.
Wow. Yeah.
Nothing out here except woods.
So, yeah, that must have been quite a process. I know you emailed me the other day. You emailed me a video, like a marketing video. Is it okay if we play that?
Sure.
To see, we can.
Yeah, please do.
I've never done that on this, so this is something new. We can try.
Okay, hang on, folks. This could be good.
So here we go.
Guys, and let me tell you, if you're traveling through western North Carolina, make a stop in Cleveland County for one of our wonder picks. Welcome to Broad River Campground, spanning over 90 secluded acres. This is not your father's kind of back to nature. The emphasis here is less about roughing it, more about comfort. There are 3 ways you can choose to stay. For the traditional folks, pull into one of 16 RV sites with full hookup, fire ring, and golf cart upgrade. For the traveling family, check into a cozy cabin that sleeps 6 to 8. After a fun day outdoors, cuddle up and binge some free Netflix. Or if you prefer to see actual stars, enjoy a private hot tub under the night sky. For the bucket list checkers, enjoy a luxe 400-square-foot glamping dome, complete with full bed, sofa, mini fridge, coffee maker, and private deck to take in views of the local wildlife. The campground is just minutes away from the Broad River Greenway. Spend the day hiking, canoeing, horseback riding, or tubing. And before you ask, the answer is yes. This version of nature includes free Wi-Fi. Got a favorite spot in Cleveland County, North Carolina? Let us know. Check us out online at...
All right, we can stop it there. I think that video is awesome, and I like the comments, and the Wi-Fi is very important. And it's just a great little promotional video. It looks like you guys had that. It looks like a local visitors bureau must have produced that or something for you guys.
Yeah, they work close in with Cleveland County. They're a company. It may be based out of Charlotte, but they do all types of filming work around the county for businesses, and so we were one of the ones that Cleveland County picked to host.
Yeah, and it looks like, I mean, just from the aerial shots. So was the park, back to Mike's point, was the park like heavily wooded like that? Did you guys have to clear all the trees, or was there like fields that you guys worked with? Or
So phase one's our most valuable real estate of the 82 acres, and we did clear out a lot of the immature small pines, all of the mature trees. We did leave, and you'll see in the video there, or if you look on our website, that's where the cabins and the domes are. Where the RVs was, we had to build that up because we basically got 3 phases or 3 knolls out here on the property that we're developing. So phase one was our heavily dense area, which again, that's where we put our cabins and our domes to give you more of that outdoor feel of experience.
So break down what the process was like, Tyler. When did all this start as an idea, and how long did it take you?
So when 2020 hit, apartment complexes real estate values skyrocketed, literally overnight. We are licensed general contractors in North and South Carolina, so we focus on apartment complexes that need renovations, significant renovations. We could not find any. Again, prices were just astronomical. So started experimenting in the real estate market, looking around, seeing what the next best thing was, and stumbled across an RV park. Called my boss up and said, I think we can build one. He said, find some land. I said, I can do that. So I found some land. We found an owner that was willing to sell some land. We got it under contract, and that was in 2020. It took us about a year through permitting, engineering, design. We were also wrapping up a couple other apartment complexes in the meantime, and we started full construction, full steam ahead on this project in summer, late fall of 2021, and opened up July 1st of 2022. Phase one, we opened up.
Okay. Was the permitting process and the zoning and everything, was that a pretty smooth process for you guys?
So we have very good knowledge of how that process works. We go through it a lot. We've been denied in many counties, not with an RV park, but apartment complexes, and that's another story for a different day. This particular county wanted to see this. The Greenway wanted to see it. The county was very, very pleased with us. They wanted to see some type of upscale park come into town. That can be something that Cleveland County can be proud of, to be something that they can promote. And one of the biggest things was what we said we were going to do, we actually did. So they're very, very proud of that. County commissioners have been great to work with. Permitting, we flew with flyby with flying colors on this process. So this one was a very smooth process for us.
So what was the research like? How did you decide what your client base was going to look like?
So that lots of hours, lots of long nights, lots of back and forth, but we landed on, we wanted to be more of a resort style destination. We did not want to be a monthly or what you may call a permanent site campground. We wanted to chase that model of more of your weekend getaways. We built the park with that in mind. We also, one of our main goals of the park was to be able to attract all walks of life that may want to go into the camping world. So we built RV sites, we built glamping domes, we brought in cabins, we just opened up our tent sites. So whether you love camping or hate camping, there's probably something here that you might like, right? Because the cabins, that's more of your upscale, the people that don't like tents or RVs, or maybe the glamping. And then the glamping domes, I always say if you take a cabin and you take a tent and they have a baby, you get a glamping dome. And so we wanted to be able to attract any and everybody that wanted to have some type of camping style experience. So that was the derivative for the park.
Yeah. What was some of the hardest infrastructure when you guys were putting in like the electricity, the septics and stuff? I guess what was the most challenging part of that? I guess.
So we put a budget together on what we thought it was going to cost, and that went out the door about day 2. When COVID hit, of course, everything was on back order. Prices are going up every time you make a phone call, and it's not a 5 or 10% hike; it's a 20 to 30% hike. We muscled through all that. We were able to make it work. We do a lot of stuff in-house, which is very financially beneficial for us. As many developers are going to say, septic is your number one thing in the park. That it is kind of your derivative. When you get into out here, we didn't have the option for city sewer, so we had to do our own septic systems. So I think we currently have 12 septic systems so far. And so when you're doing that, you have to understand that you design your park around where your good dirt and your bad dirt is, right? You normally want to put, your real estate on your bad dirt and leave your good dirt for your septic system. So it can all be done. There's a million different right answers for it. However, there's a cost to effectiveness to doing it the correct way and putting your septic in good dirt. It's obviously financially beneficial for the park and the development.
What about on the Wi-Fi side? Is it easy to get Wi-Fi where you guys are at? How did that process work?
So if there was one thing that was going to kill me on this project, it was going to be Wi-Fi. We have great Wi-Fi. We actually ran fiber through the entire park. So we have a very, very strong Wi-Fi. I'm actually sitting in a dome right now. We've been very, very pleased with it, but it was very much act of Congress to get it done. Not necessarily so much on the construction side, just working with a few vendors that we had a choice to work with. But we were able to bring it to the park, and we're going to be able to run it throughout the entire park. Because that's a big thing in today's world. It's not a luxury anymore. It's a necessity to have Wi-Fi, and good Wi-Fi at every park. So we have that. We check that box, and we're very, very proud of that.
How'd you pick out the amenities you're going to add?
So I don't sleep a lot at night, and I read a lot of magazines, listen to a lot of tutorials, you guys being one of them. And we've been back and forth. Obviously, budgets and financials drive a lot of that. But our goal, again, for this park was to make it kid-friendly, family-friendly. So you kind of use that as your derivative, and then you build from there. So, you have your Gaga pit, your playground sets. We just made an announcement last night. We're opening up our pool early next week, so it'll be open up in time for Memorial Day, which has been another very big undertaking, but we're very, very proud of it. And so we also have access to the river for fishing and hiking trails and all that. So we wanted to have something family friendly that people could come and enjoy and escape from, but also be close to restaurants. We're only 15 minutes from Shelby, North Carolina, 15 minutes from Gaffney, South Carolina. So a lot of people come here and enjoy this place for the main reason that you're away, you're in nature. However, if you want to go get a steak dinner one night and not have to drive an hour, you've got that availability. So that's been a big thing for us. So that kind of goes back to the location. On the amenity side, one thing we did to kind of separate ourselves from the competition, call us crazy, but each dome and each cabin has its very own private hot tub. We have learned the hard way that's been a big undertaking in a very positive way, but we're very proud of that. That seems to be a draw factor for a lot of people to be able to come in, enjoy the day, and in the afternoon they end the evening jumping in the hot tub.
And the domes have private restrooms too, correct?
The domes do have a private restroom. They don't have a private restroom in them. We built a bathhouse where you have a short hike, part of the glamping experience, where they have their own private bath, has a shower, a toilet, and of course a bathroom sink. So it's a 1-to-1 ratio. Your key to your dome fits your key to your bathhouse, and that's it for your length of stay. So yes, they do. And the cabins, of course, have a built-in bathroom system already in them.
Mike, how many campgrounds do you know of that have hot tubs at units?
I know that it's been tried. Very, very seldom do they sustain. Sometimes they roll out the rubber ones and set them up on request, but very, very few on site as an on-site amenity. So that's very unusual. Is that really labor intensive, Tyler?
At first we were scratching our heads on figuring out how we're going to do this. We have got it down to a science now, just through trial and error. And we're able to chemically balance most of them. Obviously, we have to flip some after a number of times of people getting in them. We educate our guests on how to be clean when you go in the hot tub to keep the hot tub clean. But it's been a very good positive response for us so far. And we do offer the rubber inflatable ones for the RV sites. Call us crazy again, but you literally could come here in an RV, stay in a cabin or a dome, and have your very own private hot tub. And it is extra work, don't get me wrong, but it's something that we feel that can kind of set us apart a little bit from the competition. Yeah.
I mean, that's definitely an interesting idea. I just haven't seen very many parks with that. Not to say that more parks won't start doing that, especially some of the bigger groups maybe might look at doing some stuff like that as they look for the next best thing. So
Sure.
I know the domes are interesting. I go out to the glamping show Americas, which I believe you're going to go to this year, and they've had domes out there almost every year I've been out there, and those are just kind of interesting. Why did you guys decide to do the domes? Is it just because of the look of them, of the uniqueness, or?
So we went back and forth between domes and yurts. Of course, everybody gets those confused a lot, but they are totally different. They're very similar, but they are different. And we have this beautiful mountainside on phase one over here. So we have decks that are built off, and I wanted to do something unique and different. Yeah. So I started looking up who has domes in the area. Well, no one. The closest ones for us would be Asheville, which is roughly a little over an hour drive. So, okay, no one here's doing it. So I'm always a big proponent of, if no one's doing it, then maybe we should look at it and try it. So I did a little research, found a vendor, ordered them off the fly, didn't know anything about them, talked to them a little bit about North Carolina, the weather conditions, and what size dome we should get and how they're going to withstand and things that we can do. And so we decided on domes out of the blue, and we ran with it, and they have been a huge hit, a huge success for us. We've been very, very pleased with them. We learned a lot of very, very valuable lessons along the way. One little side joke, the vendor that sent them to us, the directions came with a picture, a finished picture. So I said, okay, well, there's got to be a YouTube tutorial. There has to be something out there. So I called him up and I said, hey, do you have any like a YouTube channel, or do you have a video, or do you have anything? And his exact response was, I've never put one together in my life. So let's just say dome number one here at Broad River Campground took a solid week to figure out how to put together. But once we figured it out, and once we figured out how to put it together incorrectly a handful of times, we figured out how to do it the correct way. And
it sounds like some of those IKEA things.
Yeah, it's exactly what it was.
You're like, you should just know how to put it together.
That's right. So
Tyler, let's talk rates for a second. What are you getting a night for a dome and the cabins?
All right, so domes range roughly around $150 a night. Obviously, with your holiday weekends, that may tick up just a little bit. There are some 2-night minimums we build in. We are very flexible now because, again, we are a very, very new park. We are literally in our first full year of operation. So, of course, we're going to be flexible on things. We're going to work a little harder than most just to try to get our name out there. But domes are roughly around $150 a night. This year, we implemented hot tubs as an added amenity. Last year, we included them just as a marketing exposure. And then the cabins are around $225 a night. Also, the hot tub is an added amenity if you want that as well. And then RV sites range from $55 to $70 a night, depending on where you get, what spots you pick. And obviously, if you do a holiday weekend versus non-holiday, if you come through the week, obviously it's a little cheaper as well. So we have a very similar model to most of your resort style campgrounds.
So what was your product cost when you built the domes? Can you share that?
So the domes actually are very cheap compared to the deck. The deck's what we have our most of our investment in. I would say if you're going to look to build a dome on a deck for something around what we built, which was I think a 23-foot diameter, you should probably have, in today's world, because again everything's going up in pricing, you should probably have $40,000 to $50,000 in mind. That's what you should probably be budgeting.
Yeah. Okay, well, we have to take a minute to recognize our sponsor, but we'll be right back. WCM's Park Update is being brought to you by Woodall's Campground Magazine. For over 5 decades, Woodall's Campground Magazine has aimed to provide park owners and operators with the relevant industry news they need to run their businesses more efficiently. As times have changed, so has Woodall's Campground Magazine. Besides just its print publication, which is distributed to more than 14,000 industry professionals every month, the magazine also reaches readers through its various social media platforms, including Facebook at WoodallCM, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Woodall's Campground Magazine also offers a daily e-blast which highlights the top news from the industry. The best part, everything we do is advertiser supported and free to our readers. As the outdoor hospitality industry continues to grow at a rapid pace, it is important to stay up to date on trends and other relevant news. Subscribe to Woodall's Campground Magazine at woodallscm.com. Hi, welcome back to WCM's Park Update, and we are talking about Broad River Campground in North Carolina, and we're with Tyler Watts, who was just chatting a little bit about how much investment they had to put into putting up their beautiful domes. I mean, the domes look great. I think we showed like a picture of one earlier in the episode for night, and then you had a picture of a couple kissing in front of the other one. So, and then it looks great. You're in one right now. I've seen the domes at shows, but I've never actually seen one all done up at a campground. I know they come in like insulated ones too for like more winter conditions, and but I imagine it's important to have that clear part of the dome like looking towards something pretty, right? Like, was that your goal setting these up, is to make sure that they face something nice, I guess?
Sure. So when we built these 5 domes, we strategically placed them to where not one dome is looking at another one. So when you're looking out of your window in the dome, you're not, you can slightly see a little bit of the other dome, but you're not going to see the other guest in there. And that was strategically done to where when you come and stay with us, it's you have that privacy that you want, but yet you can go out and meet guests and speak with them all you want. And when we spaced the decks out, we did the same thing. That was one thing of our park, especially with the cabins. We didn't stack them in here like I would call it cookie cutter, not in a bad or good way. That was just, we wanted people to have more space in between things. So our density wasn't as populated as maybe some parks, but we've got very good feedback on that from guests coming in. They don't feel like they're on top of each other.
So you're out there a little bit, Tyler. How are you staffing this thing? How hard is it to find staff?
We've been very, very fortunate. I was able to hire on a park manager. I cold called this guy up that I'd met 2 years before, was the nicest guy in the world, and said, "Hey man, I got a campground. Would you be interested in running it?" And here he is running it, and he's doing a fantastic job. And so we have built the campground pretty much around him, and he's been able to attract other good clientele. So we've not had any issues in a very good positive way. We've, working at a campground, the thing is if you can keep morale up, people want to work there. It's not a negative style environment. It's not a corporate style environment. And we have a lot of, basically most of our staff here are retired part-time employees looking to do something with their time, that enjoy speaking with people. Gina, our office manager, she retired from the school system for many, many years. She loves coming out here and seeing the kids and it's in her environment. And Roland, he's a retired fire chief for a local city here. He loves coming out here and having something to do and being a part of the community and being heavily involved. So we've been very, very blessed with the staff that's came here, that's not only been a great staff, but also have brought a lot of connections within the cities to be able to help us grow this campground.
On the housekeeping side, do you guys do that yourself, or do you hire out for that kind of stuff?
So we do that internally. We have staff that come in and do that on call. We have a set of work campers that live here. One of her responsibilities is flipping the cabins and domes. So that's been very, very beneficial for us. And then we have another lady who comes in. It's actually one of our staff members' wives. That she's also retired, and she comes in on an on-call as needed basis to help flip things. So like I say, we've just been very, very blessed with bringing on good staff that have put the word out about how great it is to work here. And we oftentimes are getting calls about people wanting to come and work here, which gives us the reassurance that, hey, the word out there is it's very, very popular to work here. It's very relaxed, but yet we have jobs to get done. And it's also a very good, respectful work environment here. So we've been very, very blessed.
Any food service available there, or is that something that's going to be in the future?
That's something probably going to be in the future. Right now for 2023, we're just utilizing food trucks to come out on our heavy holiday weekends to be able to do that. We do have a camp store that has your small amenities such as nachos, slushy machines, pickup items, stuff of that nature. But we're going to rely heavily on food trucks for 2023.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, food trucks are extremely popular. What kind of food trucks are you looking?
Any of them that'll show up, to be honest with you. Hot dog vendors, barbecue food trucks, they stay very, very busy. It's hard to get on their schedule. I think we've got a few lined up for the holiday weekends. But most of the time they don't get phone calls to come to campgrounds unless it's an established, maybe a mega park of some sort. So we're trying to educate them that, hey, we're just not your what I call your parking lot style campground. We have, we're going to have 150 to 200 people here on the weekend. You may want to come hang out with us. So
you mentioned you just cleared phase 1. What do phase 2 and 3 look like?
All right, so phase 2, we broke ground on that about 2 weeks ago officially. It will be another 36 to 40 RV sites only, just the topo of it and the demographics of the park and the rate of returns that we're getting on our RV sites, that pushed everything in the direction to put more RV sites in. The RV sites are doing amazing for us, so let's grow that a little more because we only have 16 on phase 1. Phase 3 is up in the air. That's one of the reasons I'm going to the Colorado show, to give us some ideas. The dirt and the topo is a little challenging on that, so we're throwing out all kinds of crazy ideas right now, from maybe doing some more domes, or throwing in some yurts, or if this glamping show gives us some ideas, we're going to look at some options there as well.
Yeah, I know on the amenities side, you said you were going to be opening a pool here pretty soon. Is there anything like long-term down the road that you would love to have at the park as well on the amenities side?
So a pool is obviously a big deal, especially for a park like us. That's the center of the campground. It's based off of the end of the clubhouse, so that's going to be the center of our park. We opened up a hiking trail about a couple months ago. Staff did that. We have a beautiful creek that runs through the property that actually ties into the Broad River. So we're adding in those. We've talked about doing some splash pads down the road. The topo out here is a little challenging for that. One thing that we will be adding probably late 2023 is a dog park. We have a ton of real estate out here for dogs to run around now. They just have to be on a leash, of course, but we would like to add that in. But our main thing is just getting phase 2 and 3 done. We think with the pool we have, the amenities, we have, like I said, gaga ball, dodgeball, cornhole. We have a playground set. We have a giant checker set. We're always doing weekend activities. We think we check enough of those boxes right now to get us through the 2023 season. The main goal is to get phase 2 and phase 3 finished. So
one of my favorite questions for a new park owner is, what mistakes did you make? What would you tell? What would you tell a potential who's 3 years behind you?
That's a whole.
Don't do this.
So I grew up going to RV parks. I grew up camping. I grew up tent camping. I never did own an RV, but grew up in that camping world. But not an expert by any means. Have a really, really great project manager. Actually, me and him graduated high school together, went our different ways, and then come back in a different life. And he's still working for us today. But me and him put our heads together, and a lot of these decisions, were made on site, on the fly, so to speak. One thing I think we learned, primarily, at least with this park, when you're building up in the mountains in the Piedmont area, you've got topo challenges that you have to deal with, right? One thing that we would probably do next time is, first off, build a bigger clubhouse. Although I thought the first one I was building was way too big. We're already out of room. And then second of all, probably look for a flatter spot to build my pool. Our site development for our pool was, although it has $1 million view, was not cheap. It's going to turn out phenomenal for us, but we may, on our next park, if we wind up building one, we may find whatever the flattest part of the property is, that may be where our clubhouse and pool go first, and then we'll build things around that. It's easier to put the cabins and domes on a side of a mountain than a clubhouse or a pool. So little things like that. We had some really good mentors. We've had really good contractors that helped us think on things and help us work through things. There's a million things I could go over on it, but at the end of the day, we were very, very pleased with how this park's turned out the very first time. So
is there a plan to have more? Are you gonna have a chain here?
Yes, our goal would be. If it was up to me, I'd build 100 of them. But I'm not head honcho here. I'm just I'm just Tyler, the guy that runs around screaming at everybody to try to get this thing done. But if things go according to our plan and how we expect it, we would love to continue this journey and find multiple pieces of property and continue to build up and down the East Coast.
How many conferences have you guys been at? Have you been to any campground conferences?
We have. So I think in a previous podcast, you were at Carvick this past year, right?
Yeah, maybe you were there.
I was there. I don't know how we missed each other, but I was there, and that's okay. But we definitely go to Carvick. I went to Arvik last year. Okay. I'm actually presenting at Arvik this year. I got selected to do a presentation, so I'm excited about that. So I'll be there. George Slimbo, who's the president of our company, will be he'll be there with me as well. And then that is one of the roles I serve with the company I'm with is public relations and marketing and stuff. So any and all conferences I can kind of stumble across. We work with D. Whitting very closely. We are trying to do our best to get our name out there and help with presentations and help. Not that we're any better or stronger or smarter than anyone, but if I can help someone that's building a park or buying a park, I would love to do that, because we wouldn't have what we have today if it wasn't for people like you guys and D. Whitting and other individuals that we relied on to give us insight. Before we were actually started on the park, we went to the Carvet Conference in 2022, and we met with Ocean Lakes. We met with Lakewood. We toured all those parks and met with a lot of park owners there to give us ideas on what can we do, what can we not do, and what can we offer that may help us. And all of those staff members, all of those people there were more than open arms with us. So I feel grateful to be able to give back in some way, shape, or form to anybody that's coming up in the industry.
Well, maybe I need to get some tips from you on how to submit my speaker application, because I submitted one for Arvik and I haven't heard anything back. So I don't know if I just didn't fill out the form right, or maybe I'm not good. My face doesn't look good. So something's going on.
Face or radio. They're out there.
So, but
it was my first time submitting, and they called me up a couple of weeks ago and said, "Hey, we're excited for you." And I did not expect to get picked. Usually, a show of that magnitude and of that level, you have to apply 4 to 5 times before you kind of get on the list, right? And so maybe I just got lucky. I don't know. Maybe I need to go buy a lottery ticket. But we're super excited to be able to go and present at that and be a part of it.
Yeah, it should be a really fun conference in Kansas City this year. So, well, it was great talking with you, Tyler, and it was great learning more about your park. What's the website for your park so people can access it?
So just to clear it up, there's 2 Broad River campgrounds. We're the one in North Carolina. There's one in Columbia, South Carolina. So we're Broad River Campground NC.com. And we also have a Facebook page as well. Side note here real quick, we have a resident who permanently lives on the property. He made his debut the other day. His name's Bigfoot. Some of you may call him Nobby. He loves kids. He loves to come out and take pictures. Be on the lookout on TikTok for Nobby and his videos of the domes and getting in the hot tubs and running around the park. So we're super excited that he's come out of hibernation this year.
That's cool. So, well, thank you so much for being on our show. And we'll be back next week. Thanks, everyone, for watching.
Thanks, Tyler.
Thank you for listening to WCM's Park Update, a production of Woodall's Campground Magazine. Join us for a new show each Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern on Facebook, YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn for daily news and updates, and subscribe to our news feed on our website at woodallscm.com. Show hosts are Ben Quiggle and Mike Gast. Executive producers Rick Kessler and Alex Burkett. Copyright 2022, G&G Media Group.